Well, check this out. This is not your regular designer handbag. And what you call me? Never mind. Yes, Louis Vuitton, bicycle flavored. This is actually a Felt brand cruiser. They took the Louis Vuitton. That's if I'm saying it right, because I am not in those circles whatsoever. But in any case, it's one of those unique little gems, and it has some crazy cool tidbits on this guy. Well, I mean, it has a shifter, 3-speed up here, which is a full grip. It's also a Sturmey-Archer shifter, which goes to the Sturmey-Archer 3-speed hub, which is kind of a classic known brand. If you know anything about cruisers, Sturmey-Archer is definitely within your vocabulary. Also has a front drum brake, which is kind of interesting, as well as a coaster brake in the back. So yeah, let's dive into this beauty and see what we end up with. I mean, it's pretty cool, right? Yeah, definitely going to need some cleaning up. It's going to need some parts, possibly, but we're going to do my magic on this and see if we can get this thing up to like new condition. It's kind of cool, just different. I don't know. Yeah, let's check this out.
Welcome to I Know a Guy Bicycles, hanging out with a guy. Hi, I'm Justin the Guy. Obviously I have a garage shop. Take scary out of used, one bike at a time. If you want to be kept up to date on latest projects and topics, please like and subscribe.
Hey, welcome back to I Know a Guy Bicycles, hanging out with a guy. Hey, I'm Justin the Guy on this whole bike series, but whoa, FB? I don't know. I don't think I got that right. I thought it was a Louis Vuitton like thing, or FB. Oh, FB stands for Felt Bicycles. Duh. Yeah, it has the pattern of the Louis Vuitton style. I don't know if they copied that on purpose or it is framed that way. I don't know. Kind of crazy. Yeah, that makes sense. FB. Silly me. Silly mechanic. But what's cool about this, guarantee you, what's awesome is the Sturmey-Archer 3-speed hub. It's the SRC3. Has the traditional kind of bracket here with that removable chain, and we'll go in a minute. Ooh, if it wants to pop off, and we'll deal with that in a minute. But I think the chain is replaced. But what's really cool about it is, like, man, these beefy, shiny alloy rims with the Sturmey-Archer alloy hub, and the front hub is a drum brake design with the big old beefy aluminum rim too. So this is kind of like, you know, tankish kind of quality put into it. In addition to, this is aluminum. Not that you're going to know by weight, but you can definitely tell by the bead welding on it. It's big old beefy welds. So you got aluminum frame. You got the nice fenders that match. They look like they're in pretty decent shape. I don't see major scuffage or scar or scratches, actually. Just a lot of dirt. So the pictures of this right off the bat, it looks beige. I'm going to be funny to see after I'm done with my polishing if it's more of like a pearl white than beige. So we'll see. And it comes with the white wall tires. Look like they're still pretty good shape. We'll do some tire treatment on that to get that to be more up to snuff. But yeah, kind of cool little shifter here. Let me show you. It just, you know, the whole thing. Doop. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, change gears. Oh, going down. Yep, there you go. Clean this up and give it some ceramic coating. I'm going to ceramic coat the whole thing like no other, because this is just cool. And you got to know these, you know, decals are multicolored. If they're in the sun a lot, they'll fade. So I want to definitely protect that with a ceramic coating. But before that, I want to do some major detailing on this. Yeah, if you've seen any of my videos before, I have a few other cruisers on there. Quite honestly, these are simple, but they are a beast to work on. They do take their time. They're just complicated in a different way. Kind of like, you know, all bikes. They have their own different complicities or serendipities or whatever you want to call it. But these are just cool, right? I mean, they're just fun. They're a fun thing to do. They're just, you know, recreational. They're not about lightweight and efficiency by any means. It's about cruising your neighborhood, going to your local restaurants, riding on the bike path and having more of a leisure ride, not the efficient performance ride. hey, it's all about fun, right? And I'm all about cycling and fun, and I actually do have cruisers similar to this, as well as Specialized Roll is another one we have. My wife and I have, and we love them. They're just like get on and go. And actually, I ride that more, not as far, but I ride that more than my high performance bikes because it's just fun. I just, going to run an errand or go to a local restaurant or something like that and hit the bike path and just have fun with the kids. That's definitely a win-win. This guy is going to go to somebody that's going to really enjoy it. The reason being is it's just fun. It's like one of those things. You just go ride down to the coffee shop and have yourself a moment, and it definitely is going to be a piece to talk about. Like, oh, that's kind of cool, conversational. Like, it's like get a nice little handbag. No, just maybe if you want to spend another $400 just for the bag. Yikes! I'm sure they have some accessories available at the time. The saddle could use a little bit of a leather treatment to it. Yeah, I think it is. Well, it's vinyl, but we'll definitely clean that up too. But most of it is intact, so I'm kind of excited about working on this, even though it's definitely not my style of cool bike, but it's a cool bike for somebody's style. So I'm all in, and let's get this figured out. And Sturmey-Archer, yeah, you can't go wrong there, right? I don't know. Let's dive. If you've seen any of these kinds of 3-speed hubs, this is just basically a cover. I popped it off earlier and see if it has like a bolt that goes in there. Yeah, there we go. It's got like a roller piece, which is on plastic. So that is going to be I want to make sure this never gets damaged. I might coat this too for added protection, as well as this piece here. And how do I disassemble all this? Pretty simple. See those little micro chain, and then there's this little adjuster bolt deal, and it does have a little lock roller. So you unscrew that, then you basically just, if you can get a good angle on that, you just unscrew it out, and that's how you adjust that 3-speed internally. And that just takes forever to roll off. That's your cable and housing, and these are designed as one piece. I believe on these particular ones, there's also a barrel adjuster here, but this is where that pin slides back and forth to adjust to the 3 different speeds. And I already see surface rust on this chain. I don't think I'm going to try to fuddle with that to make it clean, so I'm going to go search and order a chain for that, but that's how that works. This opens up so you can actually get to the actual hub and get it to drop out. This is, I believe, a 15mm bolt on there, so just kind of lightly turn this. Not going to crank it off just yet, just to get an understanding. On the other side, we're going to look at that too. Over here, 15mm as well, and it has a fancy little lug nut style, and take that a couple turns. This one has a built-in integrated band clamp. Instead of a band clamp, it actually has a bolt mount for the brake arm. This brake arm has to be secure. If it doesn't, you pedal backwards, that thing just whips around. So you got to have that secure. And it looks like it's going to be a 10 and a 10, so let's grab those. So we got ourselves a 10 and a 10. Let's see. Yeah. And again, I'm going to put these parts correlation on a rag to where I've taken them off, so I'll have 3 sections. They'll determine which one is which, and that's basically your washer and bolt and nut. So what I'm talking about is a single slide, and that's not good. See the Sturmey-Archer? We've got to get that all cleaned up. Okay, since we have those loosened up, I can technically get this thing to come off. So I want to, you can feel the pressure, the compression of oh. So this has a little lock ring here which fits in the slot, which keeps it from rolling, which is nice. So that will just slide. And this, instead of a forward drop, it's a reverse drop, kind of like a Klein bike. This particular design is also used in BMX bikes as well. So what we need to do is, this is still all attached. We can't thread it all through. So what we're going to do is take these two bits off. I guess it can go through. Yeah. So I need to, okay, pliers. There's a lock nut on this inside that you need to back off first. And then you can unscrew this portion from the main. Gonna put a little drop of oil in here so it's comes out a little easier. And what's interesting is this design with these little, there I was fighting that. This will slide through the threaded portion. Whew, this is giving me some flashbacks of the 90s cruisers. This is way newer than that, of course, but that way that releases this arm where it adjusts the 3-speed rolling adjustment piece. So I can screw this out and it should slide out this arm so that it will actually drop out. So I'm not going to take it off all the way because I don't want to lose all my bits, so I can keep track of them. And now I believe I can roll this chain off. The wheel will slide out. And there's another interesting thing. The frame or the fender is in the way of dropping this out. So this is going to be interesting. So the whole concept, I'll have to loosen up the fender. Yes, these are a royal pain in the butt to fix the flat. So self-sealants, you're not worried about weight, so you're going to put like tire liners, heavier tube with sealants on there, because it is a royal pain in the keister to change this, because you have to take this all apart like we just did to be able to get to that tube and tire. So keep that in mind. I'm going to go ahead and start popping these bolts here so it gives me a little bit of flex in the fender so I can get this down. And the tire, I can also deflate the tire, which has a fancy little lug nut style valve cap, which seems to be seized on there for right now. So let's see what we can do about that. All right, since this is more flexible, I should be able to slide that tire off, wheel, drop the chain, and there we go. Oh, the wheel is free. Oh my goodness, this thing is a beast. That's a lot of pop cans and what have you. That's kind of cool though. Yeah, I'm gonna clean this all up. This will, you see how horribly terrible that is to take apart. Yeah, this is not easy like your quick release pop off adjustment, but if you look at the tire, you got some dirt, but you got fuzzy still on here. This has not been ridden hardly at all. So we're gonna refresh this and get it to its more new state like. Oh man, so excited. So we got these two bolts holding these down, and it looks like I have just two more here and here to release to get that fender off. To get the chain guard off, there's one and usually one on the inside to pull the chain guard, so it opens up the frame so I can get this all clean and so forth. I am going to take this off because it's really hard to polish in these little areas to get into it. So doing that is definitely going to be a benefit. Curious if I can use just a screwdriver Phillips to loosen these up. Well, that one's a success. Just going to back it off a little ways to make sure I can release both. Yep, sure can. So gonna do the bottom one first. Reason being is I don't want the thing to drop and bend this little portion down here. Be a little mindful and set this aside, because this way my hands are already going to be up in this direction to hold the fender, so I'm not fighting it and I'm not going to be bending anything. And once this releases, it should just slide right out, like so. Wow. All right. And a little piece of plastic still there from the original packing of it. And that bolt slides right out. So yeah, we're gonna get this thing to all shine up. And look at all that detailing that we can clean up and get it to shine. Yeah, it's been sitting outside a little bit. Yeah, this is more of a pearl white. Oh, I just can't wait to get this thing to show its true color. All right, so you'll have a screw right down here. Where's my screwdriver? Got distracted. Okay, we'll have a screw right over here. And be careful. This gets some contaminants in there, so it could get rusty. So you want to go light and polite. And these screws are usually not that beefy, so it could strip, that kind of thing. So you want to make sure you're light and polite when you go at it. You can see the whoop, it comes right off. So this particular one has like a quick release for the drum brake. You got to roll that up and over. Because if you look at that brake, it does that. So, oh, this thing is fighting me. Oh boy. Alright, so usually you need to get some extra torque. It's hard to do with your fingers, so a little bit of plier action. And now we can actually break this. The brake arm on this one, just like the back, has its own mount here. And it will drop out, and we need to release this guy. It's a threaded on, well, no, actually it's slotted. Whoop, like that. There you go. That way you're not tearing this whole thing apart as you're dropping the front wheel. And this is your basic lug nuts, both sides. I do like a quarter turn on each side first, so it'll start rolling on you if you're not careful. And this does have lawyer tabs, which will prevent the wheel from dropping out. So you have to get past those. And, ooh, look at that. The actual front fender is mounted to that. So good thing I didn't get too aggressive. You gotta pull that off. And I like to put it back on there so I don't lose track of them. And do the same on the other side. And then the wheel is free. And again, like the front or rear, it has very minimal use, just dirty. Look how chunky. Woo, that is a chunky, cool rim and hub. Man, super, super nice. And for the fender, we got the top mount here and two more bottom mounts. So we'll get this guy threaded out. And the hub design is pretty common. Seen that on a lot of different old school fender systems. So it is trickier. Not as bad as the rear, but it is just as tricky to get this to come off. And again, you sure heck don't want to have to fix the flat on this guy. So I got a 10 on the back and 10 on front. I might, to get rid of the reflector here, just because it doesn't really match anything. And you can get a torpedo light, which is kind of cool. You can mount on the top here, but we have decaling that you can start seeing it's starting to fade a little. I'm going to watch out for it. So you just slide that out. Oh, you see that rust? Definitely need to clean that up. It's been outside for a little bit, and voila. That's how you take off this particular fender. All right, there we have it. We're at a good stopping point here where got some things to do. Got to order a chain. I'm going to clean down the frame, do some detailing, and see what we come up with. But we'll review once I go through the whole process here and see where I'm at. But I'm really excited to get these wheels and frames to pop. I do have other videos linked below in the showing detailing the frames and using ceramic coatings. I might do emphasis on that, on ceramic coating, once I get it all polished up. But I need to go through this to make sure it's all dialed and ready to go. So after this, let's check out the clean parts after the results. After using a handful of products off my polishing shelf, got these fenders super shiny. I still haven't knocked them down yet, but they got the ceramic coating on there, a couple different layers. And what I'm talking about is when you're looking at the ceramic coating, look at this. I mean, it's clean, polished, which I use the compound and the polish from Adams with a couple of these pads here with a Dremel. And what happens is you can see a little bit of dullness to it, but when you take a fiber cloth and you wipe it down, you'll get like this knockdown, where it means it sticks at first, and once you brush over it a couple times, you get this high gloss, and it's super smooth. See, it looks like brand new, almost like candy, right? So we're going to be doing that to the actual fenders here. I still have my bits, but what was very interesting is these wheels. The wheels themselves, you had a little bit, I polished the rims, and they're alloy rims with a Sturmey-Archer hub, which is really cool, 3-speed, right? But these nipples were tarnished. I didn't realize they were tarnished, but you know, I have copper cups for Moscow mules, so I used my barkeeper's friend there to clean those up, and also put some Armor All on the tires, which the tires turned out in real good shape. This has like that quick brick kind of decaling, old school. So yeah, this turned out really good. And then both wheels, and these are like tank wheels too. I mean, look at the hub construction on this. For the brake. So that's just the front hub there. And same thing, look how clean those nipples came out. You see a little bit of tarnish. So you can see where cleaning those, I mean, it was a lot of scrubbing. But yeah, and lo and behold, here we got the frame. And you kind of see the film, like I was mentioning, on those bars. That's from the ceramic coating. And once you start just a couple wipes, super shine. It can be used on chrome and metals and alloy and plastic bits too, which actually will protect from UV protection. I'm not so worried about chrome, of course, but it does have a water repellent, so it beads up and knocks down that. It's easy to knock down that water and any kind of dirt contaminants are on there. So see the shine on that? That just turned out immaculate. So yeah, let's review and see what I need to do until, you see that? Whoop, super shiny now. Sweet. So yeah, the fun part. Yeah, for any mechanic that's taken apart a cruiser of any kind, it's basically retracing your steps. This is definitely different days, same bike scenario. So some of my stuff got shoved aside because, you know, I had to ship some things yesterday, so I'm in the process of that. So when I first began this journey, it was 2 days ago. So hopefully I have my bits all laid out accordingly, so I want to put it back together. Again, something that's supposed to be so simple is actually kind of complicated in a sense to make sure the right bolts go to the right portion of the fenders. I mean, they're all kind of a little different, so keep mindful on that. And also getting that Sturmey-Archer hub to adjust appropriately. Well, with the chain, I realized it has some rusted links, and that's something that, it's kind of like got rusted outside, inside here. You really can't get that completely cleaned off. So I have 2 chains on order because the length of this bike and a lot of cruisers, one chain does not cut it. So you have to have a second one and splice it. And then I actually have extra chain bit, which is left over from the other 2 I did to accommodate that. So keep that in mind. If you're swapping chains out on cruisers or single speeds of this manner, you may just get a second chain. They're not really too expensive, like $10-15. So the extra $10-15 will help you finish the project versus, oh crap, I got to order another one. So therefore lies that. And going to be going ahead of polishing up these parts. Pretty amazing how the shine came down. I did end up doing like 3 stacks on this. It is a, the initial assessment was like, oh, is it beige? It's like, nope, it is actually pearl white. Pearl white is a very common color that I used actually in the 90s. I remember the Schwinn Airdyne. If you know what that is, comment below. That's old school. The Schwinn Airdyne had 2 colors. It was a pearl white or champagne. And the Airdyne is one of the first indoor cycle exercise equipment with a big honking fan. So when you exercise those things, like, right? You basically disturbed everybody in the house and your neighbors. I mean, the thing is that loud. It's like a big tank, and they're heavy as heck to just. We had to deliver them, and it was just horrible. But in any case, this color actually puts me back in the day of the champagne white, and I start twitching a little because of the Airdyne from Schwinn back in the day. But in any case, yeah, this thing's going to turn out to be really cool. I'm going to do a little treatment on the grips and also the seat here. I believe it's still vinyl, but I want to put a little bit of kind of a vinyl treatment. It's not this, but it kind of comes in a little like shoe polish can kind of thing. I'm going to try that out and see if that polishes up. But in any case, I'm going to reassemble it to the best that I can, well, of course, and also to the point where I'm just waiting for the chain to come in. But I definitely will get the front wheel in there and the brake adjusted and get the back all connected and ready to go, and also the Sturmey-Archer shifter in place. So once that chain comes in, it's basically a 10-minute job, and then we're off to the races, and this guy is going to go to its new home. Hopefully it's down in, I believe in Castle, Colorado, it might be going to, so we'll see. But yeah, it's one of those kind of unique, you will not see yourself riding around, cruising in style on this bike because they didn't make that many of them. And Felt is interesting bike company because they do a plethora of mountain bikes, road bikes, and so forth. But they also do, side note, they did for a stint do the New Belgium cruisers. And if nobody knows about New Belgium is local to Fort Collins originally. Now it's bought out, and the case. New Belgium is the Fat Tire was their leading beer back in the 90s. It's kind of amber ale, Fat Tire, and they changed the formula recently, so everybody's miffed about that, including myself. But in any case, that particular company would build or have cruisers given away to their staff after they yearly or every other year, or when they hit like a certain milestone within the company. I'm not really sure. If you do know, put that in the comments below. But in any case, they would get a free cruiser for working at New Belgium. Well, you see these and they'll be stamped in New Belgium. They're designed in electro bikes that did them for several years. I know Felt did the same thing, and that was kind of cool. In a retrospect, and then they had some other cool cruisers in their line as well. Now they went through like Detroit Cycles and another brand, so they've been skipping around with different brands now. Obviously, they're trying to source out the cheapest one because electric cruisers and Felts did get expensive for them to produce just to get to the staff, and the staff are it's kind of crazy. You'll see them locally here go for sale like all the time because being in this area, having another bike is like in the hole in the head. So, it's like, if I get it for free, I'm going to sell it. But the funny thing on those, you'll have an electric cruiser and maybe the same model, but with New Belgium, would be like $200-300 more just because of the New Belgium stamp on there. And they get it. I mean, it's just one of those things. It's just that popular here. And especially amongst cruiser riders and beer drinkers. Any case, anyway, but this bike is going to be particularly awesome. The fenders are going to come out. I can't wait to see this in the sunlight, all polished up. It's just going to pop. There's only a couple little dingers there to let the devils out, as my mom would say. But other than that, you wouldn't really notice them unless you thoroughly inspected every inch of the bike. Other than that, at first glance, second glance, or many glances, you probably won't even notice any of those things whatsoever. And also the protective coating on there is going to prevent it from any kind of other sun damage, UV damage. Hopefully it'll keep it up because, you know, cruisers go outside and you ride them outside and sometimes they get locked up outside. So in any case, it's one of those bikes that you'll go for a ride and you'll park it and go have lunch and have it locked up, of course, but maybe have some day beverages or whatever the case may be. But these things are pretty awesome. They're a lot of fun to ride. How can I say? They're just classic. But in any case, thanks you for hanging out with me in the garage and listening to me jibber jabber about this classic Felt cruiser that's kind of like designer. I feel a little special now, designer. But in any case, thanks for hanging out with me in the garage. If it's nice in your neck of the woods, please go for a ride. Details other than that, information is in the description below. Simple, yada, yada. In addition to, if it's nice in your neck of the woods, please go for a ride. And if you have one of these, slam it down in the comments below or something similar. Let's share. It's community. Hey, we all like to read up on those kind of fun things. Anyway, again, thanks again for hanging out in the garage. And until next time, have a wonderful day.